Hey, what's up, Renzo? This is a quick demo video for you for your Korbanth TFU2. Don't mind the creepy mannequin in the back. It's getting cold out in the garage, so I moved my helmets to the house. So that guy is just looking a little naked. But I just got this done today, so I wanted to go over it with you. This does have a CFX board in it, removable battery, 28mm bass speaker, activation and auxiliary here in the clamp card area, and then I made your red gem light up that you wanted as well. So the original chassis that you sent to me to do a CFX install was actually made for a Profi, so I'm going to send that back to you, and I made my own to hold a CFX, which it barely does. To put everything in this handle here is it's very tight. I actually had a first version chassis of this guy that used a 24mm bass speaker so that it could fit in the handle, and then I actually had my board sitting underneath the switch compartment right here, but I needed to stretch all this out to come to here so I could grab the speaker, which you'll see right here. The speaker is a tight fit. If you wanted to pop it out, you could. You would just have to go through here and just make sure that you don't press on the speaker drum. I don't know why you ever would, though. I mean, it works. It holds, the pummel cap holds the speaker really nice, so it stays in place like that. And then it connects to these two pins right here that I grabbed from Saber Bay. These are stock speaker pins. So this handle has a lot of threads on it, which is fine. We're just gonna sit here for a second and unscrew this guy. I did put on your leather wrap. So on your leather wrap, you requested for it to go all the way up past that little cap. So I went ahead and I did that on both sides. It looks really nice. This is real leather, not what comes with the kit, but this looks like it's probably from Defcon Bird on Etsy, or on eBay rather. It was cut the way that he cuts them, so I'm pretty sure that's where you got it. But anyway, it feels really good. Here's your chassis. So you have your board here. You have a removable battery setup. Spring is going to be your negative side, and then those are your speaker pins. Now on my wiring, I always like to run my wires underneath the board so nobody can see them. And I had originally wired that board that way, or this board that way, but in doing so, I couldn't slide the handle over it. So I had to take everything off and redo it. So when I come around with that power wire and I come around that micro USB cord and I catch that pad, there's a reasoning for that. I needed to do that. I didn't have any reason or any room under the board to catch that pad. I've got your two speaker wires going underneath the board, and then I've got your power cord running underneath the board also. I run that all the way up. I catch the power wire for the Pixel, and then I come back with it. But everything that could go under the board did, and then everything that had to go on top of the board, I just did as neatly as I could. And you'll notice this piece right here on this board, this orange resistor thing right here. What you'll want to do is you're going to want to watch out for that when you put your handle on. So if you just go mash this handle on, you're going to catch that piece. And what you want to do, there's just enough room in this handle where if I were to just go like this, I'm kind of rubbing over it, right? I can feel it right there. You can kind of hear it. But if I just kind of lift up on the handle and move past it, then I'm free, right? So you're just going to want to make sure that you do that little thing. You don't have to, but it's just like, if you don't have to stress out that component, then why do that? So just a little tilt like that and sliding on goes a long way. I did run a single pixel underneath this ruby here, and I wired it in line with your stock pixels here. So this is if you had the ruby off, the light would mimic the blade, but because this is red, it's just going to show as lighting up, and then you'll see an unstable effect, but every color that comes through that ruby is going to be red. On my other chassis, when I put a pixel holder inside here, I ran an additional 8/32 set screw up top here for blade retention, but I found that I didn't need to do that this time because I made my PCB holder part of the chassis. So this blade retention screw works really well when I have the PCB down into the chamber and only the pins are sticking out to catch the blade, so we left that alone. I did do a light to moderate weathering on this guy. Caught the control box just a little bit. Didn't want to do too much, so I didn't interfere with the mechanisms of the switches, but I did do that. Caught the pummel cap. Just trying to show you everything in the video here. So there's some weathering on this guy. Let's throw a battery in it. Remember, spring side is going to be your negative. So of course you're not going to hear anything, right? Because we don't have our speaker in. So before we fire it up, moving past that component becomes even more something that you want to watch out for when you have your battery in. So you want to make sure your battery's pressed all the way in. Come over here, just be careful with it. It will go past it. It's just like with the battery and everything in it, it's just an extremely tight fit. I've got past it there. Just a little bit of care on your part, right? And you'll be fine. I mean, this is an expensive item anyway, so I would imagine you'd take some care with it anyway. So screw the handle on. You don't have to take the pummel cap off every time you take the handle off. I just did it so that I could show you everything that was going on here. But we'll screw the pummel cap on. Make sure it's screwed all the way on so it engages those speaker pins correctly. And then by this time the board went to sleep, so we'll hit the activation to wake it up and then turn it on. And you can see your jewel. See your Shtok pins working well. If I hold the auxiliary down for blade lock up, you can see the color change in there, but you can also see how it's always going to be red here on the jewel. But that sounds amazing. That sounds just sick, right? So we're going to turn it off and throw a blade in. I've got a 1-inch test blade. So we're just going to throw it in. If you find that your blade's tight, just twist it on, or just twist it in like as if you were screwing it. And then just you can go the same way to twist it out as well. So, activation. You can see how that gem is mimicking your blade. It's an unstable blade. We use your blade retention screw right here. Flash on flash. Tap for blaster deflex. Hold it for blade lockup. Now to change blade effects, what you want to do, because this one's unstable, hold down your auxiliary and twist your wrist, but keep the button held down.
Spectrum.
Keep holding it.
Blade profiles.
Blade profiles. Now you can twist the hilt to get different effects. Some of them are going to be subtle, some of them not quite so subtle. I don't know if they pick up well on camera, but you have quite a few. There's a kind of like a rainbow cycling blade. There's like a fire blade. I'm going to try to find a solid one. So when you find one that you like, just tap the button. And when we turn that back on, it's solid again. And to change your color on a sound font, hold down your auxiliary and twist your wrist, but then let the button go. Spectrum. Now again, you can twist the handle or twist the hilt. And every time you hear it click, if you can even hear it over that speaker, it's a different color. So you find one you like, tap a button. See, now that we've done that, now that we turn it back on, we'll have that color and that blade effect. Just like that. But remember, always red on your jewel, right? So you can see everything's working well. This came out really nice. You can get to your SD card. I just wired the SD card side down so that I could get the clearance for the handle to slide through. Because again, when I had the SD card up, the micro USB port was pressing up against the battery and it wasn't allowing the handle to go through. So extremely tight build, but I think it came out well and I hope that you're satisfied with it. Thanks, buddy.